Comfort over style? This was always the choice I had to make while wearing barefoot shoes, until I found the Barebarics Zing. Finally a shoe that looks great and gives me the benefits and comfort of barefoot shoes. Now, after 18 months, it's time to see why they've become an all-time favorite of mine. Hello, my name is Ryan and welcome to my YouTube channel, Wide Strides. About 18 months ago, I transferred over from regular shoes to barefoot shoes in search for more comfortable footwear. Since then, I've fully transitioned over for shoes, whether it be in the office, at the gym, casually, or even wide toe box shoes for running. After searching for more in-depth information and reviews on these shoes, I found there was a lack of information online, so I've decided to share my thoughts, experiences, and journey here on YouTube. Today, I'll be reviewing the Barebarics Zing. Now, Barebarics is a barefoot shoe company, so that means they have a few characteristics about their shoes that make them barefoot. So the first one being a wide toe box, which allows your feet to splay, and this one definitely has. The second being a zero drop shoe, meaning from heel through to toe, there is zero drop, or they are on the same plane. And then the third is the flexibility across the sole, so it doesn't inhibit your foot's movement. So these ones are definitely flexible. So let's have a look at the close characteristics of this shoe before we see how it's performed for me. Okay, so starting with the upper, there's actually three main materials on this upper. The first is this synthetic or vegan leather, which they have around the sides and around the eyelets and across the heel collar. The second is this white polyester material that's quite textured and nice and is actually quite a flexible material. And then the third is this brown microfiber, which is held up pretty well, but adds to the overall look of the shoe, which I do quite like. Moving on around the heel collar, you can see there's a fair bit of padding, and this is quite unique, I found, for a barefoot shoe. Usually barefoot shoes have quite a thin and minimal upper, but this one has a lot of padding, which I do like. And when transferring over from regular shoes to barefoot shoes, it was one common characteristic that I did appreciate about the shoe. In the same case for the tongue, there is a bit of synthetic leather across the tongue, but it is quite padded and quite thick there. Next off, let's look inside this shoe. So inside this shoe, you'll see this textured material for the lining, which Barebarics call their Dermadry Cool Max, which is meant to help with moisture drainage. So I've used this shoe over summers, hot and humid summers in Hong Kong, and there hasn't been any issue with breathability there, although this has just been used for walking. Next off, moving to the insole of this shoe, which is actually quite thick for a barefoot shoe and quite padded. I don't mind it at all. It's made of this recycled polyester material. Some people do like to wear barefoot shoes without their insole. I wouldn't do that for this shoe, just because the inside underneath the sole just looks very raw and unfinished and just not a nice place to put your foot into. I haven't been doing that and I wouldn't recommend it. Finally, the outsole, it is this synthetic rubber, which Barebarics say is 4 millimeters thick. For me, it feels a lot thicker than that. You don't get the same grounded experience that you usually do get in more traditional barefoot shoes. But I did quite like that, transitioning over from regular shoes to these shoes that I didn't have that grounded feeling where you're going to feel everything underneath you, and there was a lot more protection under there, but there is still a lot of flexibility across this shoe. So overall, this shoe feels really well made, really sturdy, really durable. I think it looks great, and the use of materials on this have been really good. They don't feel the most expensive, and they do feel a bit heavy for a barefoot shoe, but I actually don't mind that too much. So now let's have a look at how this has performed on foot. been using this shoe regularly for casual wear for the past 18 months now. Anything from a quick trip to the shops for a coffee, all the way through to a dog walk, and then wearing all day, even for a whole weekend. It's a go-to shoe if I need one shoe for a weekend trip away. I really like it for those use cases. The extra padding underneath is actually been really beneficial. I find myself always reaching for this shoe if I know I'm going to be in it for 8 to 10 hours compared to some of the other barefoot shoes I have. Maybe it's a psychological thing, but the knowledge that my foot is a bit more protected underneath compared to some of the other shoes makes me always reach for this shoe if I know I've got all day out on my feet. In terms of fit and sizing, so I'm a men's US size 13. I would say it's been true to size. The toe box is really spacious and wide, which I really like, and the fit is quite snug. I'm not moving around at all in this. So in terms of my feet, I don't actually have a very wide foot. I have a Morton's neuroma in my foot, so I often am looking at the toe box width, because anything slightly narrow does put pressure on my foot and does cause a lot of pain for me. This shoe hasn't caused any pain for me, which has been really good. In terms of style, I think this shoe looks great. It's one of the strongest features or aspects of this shoe. It looks right at home whenever I'm out and about casually. And I really do like this retro, chunky, inspired design. That being said, at US men's size 13, it is very big with that wide toe box and that thicker sole. It does feel a little bit clunky at times, and even some people have commented that they almost look clown-like with the size of that forefoot. But I don't mind it though. I think it looks great. In terms of grip, this shoe has performed really well. I don't have any issues or I've never slipped in it, feel like I never will. Even going up or downhill in the rain in Hong Kong, it's been completely fine. There's hardly anywhere as well. So I think this shoe has a long way to go in that respect. In terms of durability, again, this shoe has been really strong. A lot more durable than some of the other Vivobarefoot shoes or sneakers that I have had. So I've had it for 18 months. I think this shoe will last me a lot longer. The upper does get quite dirty quite easily. So if I do go out and it gets dirty, I do need to clean that. You can see sometimes there's a bit of dirt here, for instance, but it does clean really well. So overall, the Barebarics Zing has been a go-to favorite of mine in terms of casual barefoot sneaker wear. I think it looks great. It's really durable. It's the type of shoe that I know I can get banged up and roughed up a little and not really have to worry. I can't say the same thing about some of the other more premium barefoot shoes that I do have. So for that reason, it's a favorite of mine in my barefoot shoe collection. Barebarics website, this is listed at 140 euros, which is about 160 US. I have seen this listed as low as 120 euros. I paid, I think, 170 euros at a local retailer, which I think is really good value compared to some of the other barefoot sneakers on the market. For instance, in Vivobarefoot, you're often paying in excess of 200 US for a daily sneaker. So I think it's priced really well. One important point, that if you do live in Asia, please don't buy this online. The delivery fees on the Barebarics website are almost extortionate. You are paying 67 euros to deliver to Asia. That's where it was for Hong Kong, which then puts it into a different category of price range above 200 euros. So let's look at a few alternatives for the Barebarics Zing. The first one that I have tested is from Vivobarefoot, and that is their Gobi sneaker. Now there are quite a few different versions of this. I have their leather version. This is a much more premium looking shoe that I still think looks great. That underfoot experience, you can tell, is a lot more flexible, and you are feeling a lot more of the ground in comparison to the Vivobarefoot, and you're getting a much more minimal upper. There is a little bit of padding around the heel collar, but overall it's a lot thinner material than the Barebarics Zing. If you are looking for a more smart casual sneaker, I would definitely go for this shoe over the Barebarics Zing. Bear in mind that you're likely going to have to pay a bit more as well. This is often priced around the 250 USD, so a fair bit more depending on the type of version that you do get. Next up, we have the Vivobarefoot Primus Asana. I think it's a great shoe, very comfortable and a lot more minimal than the Barebarics Zing. You can see it's this very thin knit upper, a thinner sole than the Barebarics Zing as well, but it isn't as durable. Early on for this, the shoe started peeling away from the upper and is slightly more expensive if you're buying new. If you get on Vivobarefoot's resale website, you can probably get around the same price as Barebarics Zing, but very comfortable, a lot more minimal than the Barebarics Zing. And lastly, we have a new shoe that I've only just got my hands on, haven't actually tested this yet, but is from a new company in Spain called, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Ohne project. So this is their first model, project 060. I think the shoe looks great, very similar to the Barebarics Zing, and I think it's going to be a strong contender. My initial thought is it does weigh a lot lighter than the Barebarics Zing. In terms of price, this is about 160 US, so very similar to the Barebarics Zing as well. So overall, the Barebarics Zing is a great shoe. It looks fantastic, very durable, and at a great price point. I think it's one of the best shoes that you could have if you're just transferring over from regular shoes and want some of the same features of regular shoes. Just make sure you're not paying those full delivery prices. And if you want something a bit more grounded and a bit of a thinner, more flexible sole, then I wouldn't recommend this shoe. There's plenty of other daily sneakers on the market that could suit you. So that's my take on the Barebarics Zing. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. And if you own these shoes, let me know in the comments below what you think of them. Also, make sure you're subscribed. I will have a lot more barefoot and wide toe box shoe reviews coming out, whether they're for the office, casual wear like the Barebarics Zing, more barefoot gym shoes, or even wide toe box running shoes. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.